listening to the Fifth Down Fantasy Football Podcast with Johnny Slopes.
Top 3 to 5 pick next year.
And Camilla.
For the value you could have gotten at Ryan at.
I almost had 5,000 yards, but no, you don't want me. What you're saying is Wayne Gallman is the Dustin Funches of running backs?
I guess you could say that. I guess you can put me down as a for saying that.
We now bring you to the Fifth Down.
Ian, you have a new team name that I think we should talk about. What's that all? What's your new team name all about, Keegan?
Well, my team name was cleverly thought of by you, David Johnson, but now that is no more, unfortunately. David Johnson is now limp, so my new team name is David's Limp Johnson.
This is a real thing. Like, I felt like this is about your life. This is all about Keegan.
You know what, man? It hurt my heart, and I feel like my personal life was affected. Like, I just kind of cried when I found out about it. I was like,
now you're limp.
I'm limp, man. I'm not a complete person when David Johnson's not crushing TDs every game.
Yeah, football's here, and everyone's excited, and everyone's happy, except for people who drafted David Johnson first overall.
Which is literally every single fucking league, usually, if you're in a smart league.
Not if I had the number one pick.
Who would you have taken with the number one pick, Le'Veon?
Yeah, the guy that's going to score more fantasy points, you know?
Man. Oh, man. You hurt my heart.
I had to go there. If you haven't figured it out by now, you're listening to the Fifth Down Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Slopes. And with me, as always, is my partner in crime, K-Mill.
What's up?
He's a little bit down in the dumps, Fifth Downers, because, you know, he lost his boy, and this is the exact reason why I like to try to stay away from running backs early, because they're more fragile, and this is the result, you know?
Yeah, you know, you get
it's kind of hard to stay away from him first overall, though.
Yeah, well, you know what, man? I, really had, a premonition at the start of the season. It's never happened to him in his career yet. So I was like, man, you know, I have this, fear in the back of my mind that David Johnson's going to get hurt. And I was like, you know what? No, he's too good. He's a generational talent. I need him on my team. And it bit me in the ass.
You caught a glimpse of that scariness in Week 17 last year, too, with the knee injury.
Yeah, it was close, and then I think it kind of led the way for me to be like, oh man, David, buddy.
It makes your heart sink a little.
It does, yeah. It hurts you, man. It hurts you. It hurts. Today hurts, man. Today is a bad day. It's a day of mourning, not just for 9/11, but for David Johnson. Cardinal
fans everywhere. I'm feeling it too. Yeah, it's pretty much been a good little kickoff to the season. Obviously, not everything that you expect to happen happens in Week 1, you know. What are some of your biggest takeaways for Week 1?
Oh, man, there's just so much. So the Colts without Andrew Luck is just, God, oh my God.
Worst team in the league.
I had to shield my eyes, man. It was bad. I was watching it at a bar, and I wanted them to, it was so uncompetitive. I wanted to turn it off. And this is against the Los Angeles Rams, who I have no respect for because they are horrible too. And they made the Colts look like fools.
They almost hung a 50 burger on them.
Yeah, and at the end of the game, for icing on all the cake, after everything was said and done, Chuck Pagano, good old Chuck, he said that they got their asses kicked by the 49ers. He played the Rams, dude. He played the Rams.
They're in a warped reality. They don't even know what the hell is going on over there in Indianapolis. Honestly, They're probably up there in the top 5 worst-ran organizations in the NFL, in my opinion. They just have no clue how to run that organization. It seems like they just don't know what direction they want to go. They think they want to be this passing team, but they just have nothing on both sides of all. They have Luck, they have they have Marlon Mack, they have T.Y. Hilton. That's about it. Vontae Davis is always hurt. I don't care about anyone on that defense. Maybe the rookies, maybe some of the rookies that they drafted, but that team's awful from top to bottom.
Yeah, that roster just needs a complete makeover, man. They need to start over. If I was the Colts, I would probably just trade Luck, get some assets for him, and then just be done with it and just start over fresh.
Oh, you want them to start completely fresh. They are kind of wasting his career.
Hey, no, yeah, they are, and it's sad because I've said that for years. I said, you know what? They're wasting the prime of Andrew Luck's career when he's at the top of his game, and they don't put anybody around him. If Andrew Luck would go to a team like the Broncos, they'd be Super Bowl contenders instantly.
I know. I mean, you heard last year, like, Luck yelling out, "Hey, Ma, they're nailing me!" They just can't keep the dude upright, and that's going to shorten his career.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, they can't protect him. They don't give him weapons around him. It's just an overall bad situation in Indy. But, I mean, that aside, some other takeaways that I had this weekend was I think we kind of got a bit of insight on what the New England running back situation is. I think finally proven to us that the backs to own right now are Gillislee and James White. Would you agree with that?
It appears like this is going to be Gillislee getting the early down work. James White is kind of like that satellite-esque back, and Rex Burkhead's just, the third dude. But obviously that's not going to be like that every week. No, I do think the one secure role though is Mike Gillislee in the early down role. But what if there's a matchup where New England feels like they have to be unpredictable, like they don't want the other team to know if they're going to run or pass? That could be a guy like Rex Burkhead draws a start and gets like 15, 20 carries. You never know, So it's Bill Belichick.
Yeah, it is true, and I'm glad you brought that up because I think a lot of people are going to be like, well, it's Stash Rex Burkhead. Well, now that I know how it's going to end up, I'm just going to drop him. I was going to say I don't think that this is a knee-jerk drop him reaction type of thing. I think that you definitely want to hold him for right now because it's going to take a couple of weeks to sort itself out. Plus, I know that we kind of talked about this. Gillislee did have a couple of injuries last year, so I'm just saying it's not a real possibility that Gillislee could be injured and he's going to be the guy to own.
And obviously, that was one of my biggest takeaways was I was really paying attention to New England's backfield on Thursday, and I was also noticing like there was no running room for Joe Mixon at all for Cincinnati. Joe Mixon had 8 carries for 9 yards. Like, it looked bad. It looked real bad. But, I mean, their whole offenses in general looked bad against Baltimore. They got shut out. But, I noticed that Giovanni Bernard was getting probably a lot more snaps than anyone could imagine. I think he had like 7 carries.
Yeah, he was surprisingly the guy, and then it was just an overall train wreck for Cincinnati. I mean, they couldn't open anything downfield because, they didn't respect Andy Dalton because he was just throwing picks all game. So, honestly, I think that it'll get better for Cincinnati. I think there's going to be a little more clarity to that backfield. But I think that this is just kind of an anomaly. I think that it was just a horrible game by then. They're going to come back next week and they're going to kind of refocus.
And there's the hate for Andy Dalton on Twitter is real right now. I mean, he's coming off a 4 interception game. These are actually kind of games that happen to Andy Dalton sometimes. Sorry, it happens. But people are so low on him. You might see him on the waiver wire this week, and he's not going to be that horrible. Baltimore has a really good pass defense, and 2 of the 4 interceptions that he threw were tipped. At least 2 of them were tipped. So,
yeah,
I mean,
there was one that I will absolve him from.
Yes, I mean, it wasn't exactly a very good matchup to start out the year. And another thing I think that we missed, I'm not going to get to it right now, though, but it's definitely the Baltimore backfield. We'll definitely touch on that later. Some of the major injuries, though, we had some major injuries that are already happening. Obviously, we already touched on the David Johnson one, and Allen Robinson had a non-contact knee injury, tore his ACL. He's done for the year. Eric Berry tore his Achilles. He's done for the year. That's major implications to the Kansas City defense. There was quite a few people that went down. Danny Woodhead went down early with a hamstring injury. We don't know the severity of that yet either. So lots of things going on around the league in week 1, as is to be expected.
Yeah, it was a wild week 1. Oh, I also wanted to ask you one question on the air, though. All right, because I had an argument today at work. Are you buying or are you selling Tyreek Hill? Are you like buying into it? Is this easy for real, or was?
No, I'm selling. I'm selling.
You're still off him even after that performance. Okay,
yeah, I mean, he had over 100 yards. Over half of that came on one reception. The rest were all just little short things around the line of scrimmage. What if he doesn't get that big gain? That's what you're getting. You're getting 4 or 5 catches for like 20, 25 yards. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't want it.
Sorry.
I had an argument with a Chiefs fan today, and he tried to argue with me. He said that the Broncos are going to finish in the basement of the AFC West because Kansas City is such a better team. And I said, they're built the exact same. They're the exact same fucking team. So I was like, am I talking to a brick wall here?
I love the interdivisional fan rivalries. It's great. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, Allen Robinson's out. That really saddens my heart. I had a soft spot for Allen Robinson because he had to play with such a shitty quarterback. And now he's done. It doesn't matter anyways. Jacksonville had no interest in throwing the ball. I think they only attempted like 21 passes last week or yesterday.
Yeah,
so,
it was game plan.
I really don't think it mattered.
Yeah,
I just really hope that he recovers.
Game plan was keep the ball out of Blake Bortles' hands.
Yeah, it was a good game plan. It worked to perfection.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, give Fournette the ball.
I know some of the. It was actually. I felt like this was actually a bad week for fantasy football in general. I just feel like there was a lot of low scores.
Yeah. It was a weird week, man.
Just put it this way: would you have, after the Sunday games, would you expected that Alex Smith, Carson Wentz, Tyrod Taylor, and DeShone Kizer would all be top 5 quarterbacks?
No, definitely wouldn't have.
That's all you have to know about Week 1.
Yeah, it was an anomaly, that's for sure.
One of my first pieces of advice going into Week 2 for your waivers is don't overreact because of Week 1. A lot of people tend to overanalyze things that happen, and they think that they are trying to figure things out, and could end up doing more harm overall. So don't overreact. And really, I wouldn't really change a whole lot. There's some nice pieces out in the waiver wire right now, but you don't know if it's fool's gold right now. You could go ahead and take a stab at a couple of people, but I wouldn't get too crazy. If you have like a rolling waiver, I wouldn't get too crazy with any of these guys this week.
Yeah, agreed.
So let's jump into it. Some of the quarterbacks. Now, most of these quarterbacks you're not going to want to like really pick up in a 1 quarterback league. Most of these are for like 2 quarterback super flex leagues. Right. We all seen what Alex Smith did. I mean, he had 368 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Patriots. He is available in 77% of Yahoo leagues right now. While he's obviously not going to do that every fucking week, he's not a guy that's going to get you 300 yards every week. Everyone knows that.
Well, according to the Chiefs fan I talked to, that is Alex Smith, by the way. That's him. I was like, no, that's not Alex Smith. What he did on Thursday was not Alex Smith.
I mean, yeah, they shredded the Patriots. He looked good doing it, and not to take anything away from the Chiefs, but it looked more like the Patriots were just really bad than anything else. Like they didn't even bother covering Tyreek Hill up down the sideline. He was just left like unguarded, like a 15-yard cushion. But if you're in a 2-quarterback league or a super flex league, then you have my full endorsement. But he's likely already drafted in leagues like that, so he's probably not available on the waiver wire. Next week he plays in Philadelphia, who's coming off a 30-17 win against Washington, and had what looked like to be a tough defense. I still think that they have a burnable secondary, though, and Kansas City may be able to take advantage of that. So, I mean, I guess if you absolutely have to stream a quarterback in Week 2, I don't know why you would. He could still probably be a viable option against Philadelphia because I still think that their corners are burnable deep down the sideline.
Yeah, I agree with you, but yeah, there's just really no reason to pick up Alex Smith this week unless you really have no confidence in your only quarterback.
What did you think about Tyrod Taylor's play against the Jets?
I loved it. I mean, he played with swagger. He didn't have a lot around him, but he played well, and I liked those looks he was giving Charles Clay. It seemed like Charles Clay and his tight ends were getting open a lot. And I also, you got to love what Shady did. I mean, Shady was just tearing it up all game, and he got a touchdown vultured, but overall, I loved how the Bills played this weekend.
I mean, I know Tyrod Taylor, he may not be available in your league. He's 51% owned in Yahoo leagues. And if he's not, that's okay, because while he looked fine against the Jets, he has a much tougher matchup next week. He's going against the Panthers. And I know it was against the 49ers, but they still held Hoyer to under 200 yards, no touchdowns. They picked him off once. Carolina, I think, could be a potential top 5 defense if they still stay healthy. And Buffalo just kind of lacks talent on offense, I think, to get it done against Carolina.
Yeah, I heard the most outrageous thing about Carolina today. Somebody told me, Panthers fan obviously, said that he saw the Panthers going 12-4, and I was like, no fucking way.
I mean, what are they, like 2 years removed from going 12-4?
I mean, yeah, but I just don't see it this year.
Yeah. I see them as more of like a middle of the road team that could end up getting like 8 or 9 wins though.
Yeah, I think that they'll do better than they did last year. I just don't see 12-4. That just doesn't. I don't think that's going to happen.
Not well, Atlanta's there.
Not in that division.
Yep. The next quarterback on the list, we just talked about him, DeShone Kizer. What was your honest opinion about his debut against Pittsburgh?
Well, it's been a long time since the Browns have had a quarterback to actually say, "Oh, he's got promise." So I think that he did good. He held his own, and he had his team, and he kept them competitive all game, and he put them in a position to maybe come away with a win. And that's really all you can ask for the kid. I think he played his heart out, and it's good. Like I always have a soft spot for the Browns in my heart. So if they're finally on the up and up, I'm all for it.
Believe it or not, right now, through Sunday, not counting the Monday night games, DeShone Kizer is quarterback 5 in the NFL. I mean, he showed a lot. You're right. He showed a lot of promise week 1. He got a touchdown with his arm and his legs. He led a 73-yard drive late in the fourth quarter to bring the Browns within a field goal of the Steelers. Well, all that's cool and everything. You got to remember, Kizer's still a rookie. He's going to have his ups and downs. And in week 2, he very well may have one of his downs. The Browns take on the Ravens week 2. We know that the Ravens' defense was very dominant against Cincinnati. So they sacked Dalton 5 times. They picked him off 4 times, recovered a fumble. While I think Kizer could be a quarterback 2 in a super flex league and definitely worth a roster spot in those type of formats, he can be left on the wire in most standard leagues unless he's having a good matchup on a bye week where you can probably stream him, which is not going to be week 2.
No, I don't think that's a good matchup. But no, and it was good. He did a lot of checkdowns, but I mean, he came away with it. He made very few errors, and he just did it, man. So I'm excited. I'm good.
Yeah, he should do some more checkdowns to Duke.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely.
And you know what? We talk a lot of shit about the Rams. We always talk shit about Jared Goff, but you know what? All right, so Jared Goff actually looked good under Sean McVay, but the only problem was it was against one of the least talented rosters in the league without Andrew Luck. But it was promising to see him get on the same page as Cooper Kupp and the newly acquired Sammy Watkins, hooked up with Watkins 5 times on the 5 targets. That's pretty good. Maybe the Rams' offense is turning around, or maybe they just played possibly the worst defense in the NFL. What do you think?
I'm still coming to terms with this because I love talking shit about Jared Goff, but at the same time, I will give his own. Because last year in week 17, the Rams, I believe, I can't remember what team they played, but it wasn't a very good team. And
might have been the 49ers.
I think it was the 49ers, actually. And it was like, so they didn't, like, and Jared Goff was horrible in that game, like absolutely garbage. And it was against a top, like, it's a bottom 10 defense in the NFL. And he had an absolutely horrendous game, couldn't do anything. He threw for like 127 yards, he had like 3 picks. And then he comes out this year, and even against one of the worst defenses in the league, I'll give him that. He showed poise, and he actually looked confident. Last year he didn't look comfortable at all. This year it looks like he actually might have it. I don't know what it is, but he might have it.
Yeah, I was just about to say he did look a lot more confident in the pocket and putting more zip on the ball. He didn't look like he was scared, so that's good. I don't think there's any more quarterbacks we really need to talk about.
Yeah, because they should all be owned, or what?
Yeah.
The ones, the noteworthy ones.
The ones you want, you got. Okay. Now let's go over to the running back position. I know this is a guy that you've been having a lot of conversations with me about. We've seen him on the field in his debut. Another rookie, Tarek Cohen. He's like the satellite back, it looks like, for Chicago. he had 5 carries for 66 yards, and he had 8 catches on 12 targets. Count them, 12 targets, and he had 113 total yards with a receiving touchdown. He's currently second running back overall, and he's only owned in 13% of Yahoo leagues. What a spark plug this guy is. He's only like 5'6", but he's called the human joystick for a reason. The dude has moves on top of moves, and he made that one highlight reel run where he cut across the field, reversed his field, and just ran it for like 45 yards, and then he made a nice touchdown grab. So, I mean, maybe the Bears have something like that. Could this be Chicago's like satellite back?
I mean, there's no question to me that he's their satellite back. The real question to me is, man. So two things. Two takeaways. So how much has Jordan Howard fallen out of favor? And number 2, this guy. I mean, man, impressive stuff. But my thing is like, because I'm really trying right now to decipher. After losing David Johnson, I'm thinking about putting a waiver claim in for the guy. And I really like him. I'm just wondering if he's fool's gold or not. That's why I was asking all those questions about what you thought about him. But, man, I mean, just really exciting to watch. And, I mean, you get this kid in space, and, man, he could go. So I personally like him. But the thing is now, is this like a 50-50 timeshare with Jordan Howard, or is it going to be – because I feel like he could be a big part of the game plan going forward.
I don't necessarily think that it's going to be a 50-50 split by any means. It's actually, I think it's going to be mostly Jordan Howard. This game, because it's going to be like this in many games because the Bears will be losing, they're going to want to bring in Cohen because he can catch the ball. We all seen it last year. We've even seen it yesterday. Jordan Howard can't catch. Jordan Howard dropped the game touchdown, but Jordan Howard dropped the ball in the end zone, so they lose. So I mean, going forward, they can probably get Cohen even more involved in the passing game. Like, we don't want to throw this fucker. He can't catch. Let's give it to this little firecracker.
Yeah. I like what I saw of the kid, and I think that he's the only guy that I would actually give my stamp of approval on. If you like sit here and say you're a David Johnson owner, and I think that he's the only guy worth picking up. I don't even think Kerwin Williams, and we'll get to him in a second, but I think that he's probably the only guy that you could justify using a waiver on right now.
Well, there's another guy that, you're not going to like this one because he pissed you off, but Chris Thompson in a lot of leagues right now, he's only 17% owned on Yahoo leagues.
Had to score touchdowns.
It seems like it's another satellite back in Washington. He caught 4 passes for like 50-something yards, and like you said, he caught it was like a 29-yard touchdown. This is, Washington is a team that has a high-volume passing offense. They throw the ball a lot. Isn't it good to have a receiving back and a high-volume passing offense?
Yeah, I agree with you. I see it, man. But I was Lukey touchdown that was. But he did make a nice play, man. That touchdown.
He broke 2 tackles.
I was watching it live, man, and I thought he was going to stop. And he put in a lot of work to get that touchdown, so I will give it to him on that one. That was a lot of effort. And I think that there is some fantasy value there. I don't think it's as high as, like, Cohen, I don't think, but I think that there's definitely something there.
I mean, right now he is actually running back 10 through Sunday, so he had a pretty good week. Obviously, you're not getting touchdowns every week. He doesn't have, like, that high ceiling, but I think he could develop himself a decent little floor as a catching back.
Agreed.
I mean, I've been saying this all summer. Shane Vereen will lead the Giants in fantasy points out of the backfield as far as PPR leagues are concerned. And I know he did a lot of it in garbage time. He had most of his catches in garbage time, but he ended up having 9 catches for, 52, 54 yards, 51 yards. And he got targeted 12 times or 10 times. So he's going to be that guy that has the most secured role in that backfield, and I think he's the back to own in New York.
Wow, that's a bold proclamation right there.
I've been saying that all summer. Go back to when he was healthy. He was catching 50 passes a year, like 40, 50 passes. So I mean, that has some value in PPR leagues.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think another one. You're not going to find him available in my league. I probably drafted him, but I like Marlon Mack. I do like Marlon Mack. He's available 91% of Yahoo leagues right now. He didn't really have a very great day, to be honest. 10 carries, 24 yards. He did score a 3-yard rushing touchdown. Fumbled the ball, and it resulted in a safety, so that's bad. He did catch a 21-yard pass that actually should have been a touchdown, but Colts are a terrible organization, so they didn't challenge the play, and he got a touchdown. So he could have had a bigger day.
Could have.
I think, though, especially Frank Gore owners might want to consider picking up Marlon Mack because they both had the same number of touches last week or yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of, how competitive is Indianapolis really going to be this year, so you got to think. I don't think they're really going to, there's not very much tread on Frank Gore's tires. It's obvious why they sat him the second half of yesterday.
Well, if they don't have anything to, if you're saying they don't really have anything to play for, then why not see if you got in the rook?
Might as well, yeah.
We're going to go a little bit deeper here. I know you're talking about the Arizona running back situation. I don't think that I really feel comfortable going after one of these guys. Who the fuck is Kerwin Williams?
Yeah, I know, man. And they're all undersized too. Everybody who's not named David Johnson in that backfield is undersized.
The rest of the backfield's pretty much up for grabs. There's a lot of uncertainty of the extent of David Johnson's wrist injury. I've heard anything from 2 to 3 weeks to 12 weeks, so we're not really sure at this point. But it looks like he's not in. It's going to end up being some unappealing committee of Kerwin Williams on some early down work with Ellington selling in. And, the Cards could also bring back Chris Johnson, and they've already signed former Arizona State prospect DJ Foster, who was cut from the Patriots, who does possess some pass-catching abilities. He used to play wide receiver for a part of his college career. So, if you're in a really deep league or a dynasty league, that might be something you can look into.
Yeah, I think that it's just going to be some committee from hell that you're going to get immediately, and or just have to hope that David John's going to be back sooner rather than later.
Is there any other running backs?
That's pretty much it for running backs, in my opinion.
I do have two more deep guys. You got Javaris Buck Allen. Out of nowhere, kind of a surprise. He actually outstarted Terrence West 33-27, and he actually outcarried him 21-19. This probably had more to do with the fact that the Baltimore Ravens were playing with the lead the entire game, and they ran the ball 4 times. I call him Big Buck. Big Buck again. Butt fuck a friend.
Butt fuck Corinne. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, we'll call him.
Yeah, but I think he's like the forgotten guy in that backfield. Everyone just forgot about him, and now he's just in because Danny Woodhead goes down with injury, and they don't have Kenneth Dixon this year, and then now it's just Buck Allen, the forgotten dude, hit 21 carries. I think he could be worth a look.
Now, I forget, wasn't he suspended for only 4 games, or was he suspended all season?
Oh, he got placed on IR.
Oh, okay. All right, never mind.
And then one other guy is Chris Carson out of Seattle. Really the only reason why I bring him up is because he's available in every single goddamn league, and he was the only back that was worth a damn in Green Bay. Lacey looks close to done. Rolls is battling a high ankle injury. Procise didn't look like he was involved very much. Chris Carson, he looks like a big physical back, and he was in 26 of the 49 snaps. Now, I'm not saying you should be starting or flexing him quite yet, but I do think he's worth a stash in deeper leagues with long benches.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's going to be a while before Seattle sorts this backfield out. I think that Chris Carson is right now the guy to own, but at the same time, I feel like it was pretty much a 50-50 timeshare with Eddie Lacy. I think that might change next week. And then it's only going to get more complicated when Thomas Rawls comes back, and then, CJ Procise in the mix. I think this is going to be even worse than, deciphering New England's backfield. I think that this is just kind of I don't think he's worth a stash on your bench. By any means, do not start him. Just keep him on your bench.
You want to hear my honest, brutal truth about what's going to happen here?
What do you think?
By week 3 or week 4 or whenever Thomas Rawls gets up, they're going to cut Eddie Lacy, and he's going to get cut. I know I used to bet on him thinking he's going to do better than Rawls. he looks like a dude that like rolled his ankle like 50 times too many times. I mean, he just looks done.
Yeah.
He looks like he has no burst, no speed. I don't know.
He's not good, and the other thing is, yeah, he looks done, but it's just like, look at what 4 years has done. Like when his rookie year with the Packers, we were like, oh my God, wow, look at this guy, man! Like, wow, like he looks like the franchise back for the Packers, for the next couple of years, and man, look at how the times have changed. He looked like a completely different running back on Sunday. It was sad to watch almost.
Yeah. Let's go over to the wide receivers. I think probably the biggest receiver that's going to get is going to be Kenny Galladay. He had 4 catches, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7 targets. I'm going to push the pedal back a little bit on this one because I am not saying that he's not talented or he's not going to succeed this year, but, he was losing some snaps to T.J. Jones. And, I mean, he did do the most he could with the 7 targets. You shouldn't trust him in your lineup, but you should absolutely add him to your bench. I mean, I'd spend a good portion of my free agent budget on him if I was able to. Yeah,
I would agree with you. I think that season-long league, I don't think I would really use a priority ad. If you're high on the waiver wire,
I would do it instantly.
For Galladay?
Me, out of all the running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers, he's the number 1 ad.
You think so? You think Galladay? I like him.
Because I've seen his metrics, and then I've seen him play in an actual real football game, and what I thought I knew was confirmed on Sunday. So I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. So you're proven. I think though, after all the analysis, if you're going to spend any kind of FOB budget or anything, I mean, it obviously depends on your positional need, but I'm gonna go their way and say probably Terrence Owen because I think
15-20%. So 15 to 20% Galladay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I like him.
But, is there any other receivers that stood out to you that could be on the waiver wire?
If for some reason you're in somewhat of a shallow league and he wasn't already owned, because I am in 1 or 2 leagues where he is unowned. I think he just snagged Corey Davis. Definitely, he's getting so many targets over there in Tennessee. He's definitely going to be worth that. Yeah,
the hate with Corey Davis is real. Like he was going after Matthews and Kirk in many leagues. So I mean, the hate got real with him. Another guy that I'm kind of intrigued by that I know we both hate. Nelson Aguilar. He had a 6 for 86 line with a touchdown against Washington. He's only owned in 14% of Yahoo leagues. He had 8 targets. I know most of it came off the bomb where Wentz shook off two tacklers and just launched it to him and it was down. That's where most of the yardage came from. My question is, do you think there's any chance, though, that Nelson Aguilar can be this year's Devontae Adams?
You know what, man? I'm gonna be completely honest with you, and you're not going to agree with me, and that's fine. But I do. I have something in Nelson Aguilar. It's not just that. I've always had the talent. It's never talent. He had pedigree. He was just untapped potential. And I think in the right position, the Eagles are using him a lot. I really like that fit for him. And he honestly almost had 2 touchdowns. I don't know if you were watching the game. There was one where he got tackled from behind. He nearly had a second touchdown. He was like, so, I mean, his talent is real. And if he continues to get a big target share, I can see it happening. However, you got Alshon Jeffrey, you got Darren Sproles, you got whatever fucking backfield bullshit they want to employ with LeGarrette Blount or whatever. But I mean, I think that he stands a good chance to get some targets in that offense.
Yeah, I'm starting to come around on a little bit, but Washington, their secondary is not all that. It's not like he was getting guarded by like Josh Norman most of the afternoon like Alshon Jeffrey was. I want to see him do it again.
I'm with you. I would not spend any FOB on him. I wouldn't use a priority ad. Maybe if you have an extra spot on your bench and you want to add him after waiver as a process, by all means, whatever the fuck you want to do. But I wouldn't make him a priority get. But I'm saying that I think there could be something there. At least to me, if he keeps getting utilized the same way, wide receiver 3 value all season, maybe.
I was writing a wide receiver or a waiver wire piece before this episode, and that's exactly what I said about Aguilar. You can put him on the wide receiver radar wide receiver 3 radar for right now. Your boy Cooper Kupp was balling out yesterday. 4 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Are you starting to believe in your 5th round rookie draft pick?
I think I have to believe in him because, like Jared uses to throw at anybody else, except for Sammy Watkins. I think should have been utilized more. He got utilized, I know that, but should have been utilized more. But Cooper Kupp's some weird chemistry, and it's going to carry on. I think that Cooper Kupp's going to be his favorite target because I think that they're like they look alike. They're like both blonde white kids, and they just like butt fucking each other. I think.
Okay. That's hot. I honestly was I was kind of surprised at the fact that even Sammy Watkins had 5 catches. The fact that they were on the same page. They didn't miss one time all afternoon. So that's a little bit promising. Cooper Kupp, he's looking like what's that? I can't remember the dude. What was it? Harrison. What's the dude's name that plays in White Boy Can't Jump?
Lee Harrison.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of that little scrappy dude. I don't know, man. But yeah, you got to keep in mind. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say keep in mind, though, he only had 6 targets. And they're not going to be playing Indy every week, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying he's on my radar now, but am I going to spend a priority on him? Not really. I'll let it sort of out.
All right, J.J. Nelson, we went 543 with a touchdown. You know, when I first initially looked at that line, I thought, oh, he must be Arizona's number 2, but that's not really true. I mean, 3 of those catches came on the final drive, including the touchdown. So I honestly think that and Jerron Brown, I think that there was a little mix up here. I think John Brown is the number 2 after all.
I think so, man. I have a question, though, because I was very puzzled. I was watching the Arizona game most of the morning. Were you surprised Larry Fitzgerald was, I think he dropped some stuff that we're typically to see him catch, you know? It was puzzling to me because Larry Fitzgerald had a way bigger game. He dropped a touchdown pass, in the game, I think in the 3rd quarter, and it was just surprising to me to see Larry Fitzgerald, play like that.
See, players where I own them in many leagues, I try to just not watch them because I get to become biased, I try to remain unbiased.
That's fair. But yeah, I do think that John is the number 2 in Arizona, and he looks good.
So I'm just gonna fly through a few of these because I don't really necessarily think these are pressing guys, just guys to note. Terrence Williams, he went 6 for 68. He's not going to do that all the time, though. Mohamed Sanu went 6 for 47. That's fine. I played him in a PPR league. It was fine. I was fine with that. Paul Richardson, though, for Seattle, 4 for 59. He actually outsnapped Tyler Lockett and led the team in targets while he was tied with Jimmy Graham, but he did a lot more with it than Jimmy Graham did.
I was analyzing this. I think I kind of overanalyzed it at first. I was like, wow, Richardson. Then I looked at it, and the game, Alvin was getting the priority coverage. He was drawing coverages and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So I think that it was a game script type of thing that Richardson was getting targeted because I don't think that the Packers were keying in on him as much as were Doug Ball, Tyler Lockett, and Jimmy Graham. But, I don't know. I think there's something there with Richardson. I don't think that it's going to be an every week type of thing, but he should be under radar.
I definitely think he's a nifty little athlete. I don't really think this really matters much because I don't really think much of the Jacksonville passing offense. But now with Allen Robinson down, does Marquise Lee or Allen Hurns pop into your brain at all?
Yeah, it's a low-volume passing offense. They made that very clear yesterday. They were going to be a run-first offense. So it doesn't mean a lot to me, but I guess if you're trying, if you're really desperate for a wide receiver or if you have a dart throw or you're looking for a bench stash, I guess that maybe one of them could Well, but again, you have to remember who's throwing him the ball. It's BB. It's BB. That's really all you have to understand.
Well, Alan Hearns actually had the better game out of him and Marquise Lee. Marquise Lee got targeted 4 times and then didn't catch any of them. But, I mean, if I had to guess who would end up with more, like, receiving yards this year, I'd probably have to go with Marquise Lee because he led him in receiving yards last year. Neither one's interesting at all, though.
Yeah, I mean, Alan Hearns has been used to playing injured, and he does. He's a stud, man. I mean, he plays hurt all the time. But at the end of the day, he does get hurt a lot, it seems like. So I think that Marquise Lee is a better bet.
Yep. I'm going to fly through a lot of these tight ends because you really probably don't need a second tight end anyways. Maybe if you want to stream a guy, there's a few of them that I like. Is there a tight end that's stuck out to you that could be on the waiver wire?
What, probably Hooper, right?
That's actually my one that I wish people would avoid because that seems really fraudulent. 2 for 128 days with a touchdown, and it just looked like the Bears had no interest in tackling him whatsoever. So I'm not really looking into that too much.
Right. No, I'm saying that he's probably going to be like the priority ad tight end of the week. Him and Jesse James. I think those are both fraudulent performances. I mean, this is a week too where Jordan Reed, all of the top, Greg Olsen, they all had shitty games. Like all of the top tight ends in the league, Travis Kelce, I could go on. They all had shitty games. Yeah. No, I fantasy tight end this week was Jesse James. You really need to know more than that.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse James, I feel like I'd rather have him over Austin Hooper because that it seems like the Steelers are more willing to use their tight end than Atlanta is. Playing in a high-volume passing offense like Pittsburgh, he's going to have some games. You're just not going to know when they're going to happen, and that's the headache you don't want. I think the only tight end that could possibly be out there that I'm really into is Jason Witten. He may or may not be available in your league. He's only available in 39% of leagues, but he's coming off a 7 for 59 line touchdown off 9 targets. He's the staple of that Dallas short passing game. I think that while he's not going to score a lot of touchdowns, he's going to give you a fringe tight end 1 floor most weeks.
Yeah, he'll be around. I think he's a favorite for Dak Prescott, and I think he's going to have season-long fantasy value.
Does Charles Clay intrigue you at all?
Actually, yes. Like I said earlier, we were talking about Tyrod Taylor. It interests me what they're doing together. They have chemistry. Charles Clay finding a way to get open and make plays. And I've always been a fan of Charles Clay, so I think if he can continue to get open and get looked, he's an athletic tight end. I think he can definitely make it happen.
Well, you also got to think Jordan Matthews might not be 100% healthy. Jordan Matthews probably might not be totally acclimated to the offense quite yet. And Zay Jones is a rookie. They have to throw the ball to somebody. I like Charles Clay. I think he can be a sneaky streamer for some of the weeks this year.
I'll make a hot take. I'll say he could be this year's. I'll say that my hot take is he could be this year's Kyle Rudolph.
Okay, I can dig it. I don't know if he'll score that as many touchdowns though.
I mean, but that's hard to put touchdowns. But yeah, I agree.
I mean, outside of that, I mean, you got Jared Cook who had a 5 for 56. Evan Ingram had a 4 for 44. Seth DeValve had a 4 for 42. Looks like Zach Miller's still the starter in Chicago. He had a 4 for 39. There's really not a whole lot out there at tight end. There's defenses though that I've seen on the wire that do intrigue me. Baltimore, we see what Baltimore did to Cincinnati. They're available in 47% of leagues, so they may or may not be available. Hopefully you're smart enough to draft them, play Cleveland next week. You know, they're coming off a big week. Jacksonville, they're playing Tennessee. I bring them up just for the fact that I know it was Indianapolis. Indianapolis has a terrible line. Just take a guess how many sacks Jacksonville had against Indianapolis.
Oh, Jacksonville against Houston?
Against Houston. I'm sorry.
I think they had.
They had 10 sacks, an interception, 3 forced fumbles, and a touchdown. So I mean that's pretty That's pretty swell. They play Tennessee next week. I think you could pick them up 36% owned. Philadelphia, they play Kansas City. I don't know how I feel about that, but they had a nice week too. They also had 3 fumble recoveries, 4 sacks. I think though if they're trying to screen some defenses, is there anyone that you're looking to possibly screen next week?
Anybody playing the Colts? Seriously, if you have a defense on the floor that's playing the Colts, just grab them. Just do it. But I think that one of the ones that impressed me, I mean, I was actually going to ask you about it because I own them in our league. Green Bay defense, are you seeing what they did to Seattle this weekend, or are you kind of just like, oh, that was kind of an outlier?
Well, they're an optimistic defense. Russell Wilson just didn't look very good though either. But I think they're probably owned in most leagues.
I think they're all 40% owned last time I checked in Yahoo. People like Tampa Bay. They're a couple of years ago, I think I had them for a stretch run in the playoffs, and I think that they have a much improved defense.
Yeah, I'm not really sure who Miami's playing at this point, but Miami and Tampa Bay, if you can pick one of those defenses up and it can just be a good defense all year, they play 16 weeks. You never have to worry about picking up a defense again if one of those 2 defenses hits.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. They won't have bye weeks for the rest of the week, so you can just literally just put them in there and leave them in your lineup.
You know, Miami becomes even more intriguing because of the division they play in. They get to play the Jets twice. They play Buffalo twice. I mean, they don't have a bye week anymore. Past their bye week, become a little bit more intriguing. Just depending on how good the run defense is, you know.
Yeah, I think there could be something there.
All right. Is there anything else you want to add before we end this show, K-Mill?
I think I'm good, man. I think this is a damn good show.
All right. That'll pretty much do it for today's show. Fifth Downers, if you enjoyed our show, please check us out on iTunes and leave us a rate and review, and that would be much appreciated. You can also find us on Spreaker, and you find us on Stitcher as well. Please check us out. It'd be great. We want some feedback. We will also be answering questions via Twitter, so you can hit us on there at the Fifth Down FF. If you have any lineup questions, you can ask us. Just don't ask us until Wednesday. We're busy. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But that'll pretty much do it. Thanks for Downers. Have a nice night.